Hello and welcome back to the LTGuitarist Interviews podcast. My name is Liam, and I spend a lot of my time talking to cool, creative, interesting musical people, and this episode is one of those conversations. I'm talking to Michael Webster from Bread Records, a Manchester-based record label. I was in Manchester towards the end of 2025, and I hooked up with Michael to talk about just what is it that record labels can do these days. When I was studying music a few years back, we talked about record labels always in the past tense because there was nothing they could really offer independent musicians that they couldn't just go out and do themselves. So maybe they could give you money, but they'll want that money back, so what's the earthly point in record labels? Things have changed since then. And actually there are quite a few things that record labels can offer musicians now that they couldn't a few years ago, so that's why I wanted to catch up with Michael and learn all about what he does. It's worth giving a shout out here to Jay from Scatterchild, who is a good friend and occasional collaborator, and it was his suggestion that I talk to Michael in the first place, so thank you, Jay, for that. Alright, enjoy. I don't want to be stealing all of your secrets for promotion and artist management and all of this cool record label stuff, but I do a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I'm really intrigued to know how you came to start a record label, because you're a musician as well.
Yeah.
And presumably you were a musician before you started a record label. So what happened that made you go, actually, I know?
It was more like just a case of, I was working on a bunch of different projects and recording people's music and producing music. And it was like, oh, maybe I should have like a little hub for it all. So I was like, oh, well, why don't we just do like a little label to kind of have all the releases in one area? And, you know, I was involved in like not only the production, but I was also in some of the bands, and I was like, well, it'll benefit us all if it's all in one place, you know? So that's really the main gist of it.
I've definitely had that thought process because I think I was in a very similar situation a few years back. I was the guy with the shed with all the microphones.
Yeah.
Like, can I just come over and record a single? Okay, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But it never sort of occurred to me to actually be like, oh, I could actually do it as like a value add.
Yeah.
Then be like, oh, well, I will do all of your ISRC codes and all of this stuff. So it's interesting that you sort of, came to it that way.
I think it was also when I was at university, they were like, oh, you need to do some form of a project.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, you know, whether it's like, you know, running an event, doing like a marketing project or something. So I was like, oh, I'll put on some gigs, because I'd done it a little bit before. Yeah. But then I was like, oh, well, then if I'm putting gigs on, I may as well do it underneath the label.
Yes.
For continued kind of like it's all in one place.
Yeah, it's kind of that building that brand up. I mean, gigs isn't really something that labels kind of do.
No.
The narrative really is that artists can do everything, and like Spotify and CD Baby and like every level of like music industry infrastructure will say, no, you could just do this all yourself. It's pretty affordable and not that complex. So why not just pay us the money to handle essentially the record label side of it?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that that's the narrative that musicians and bands are being told, that you kind of have to do everything. But you've started a record label and you're also kind of doing everything, like you're doing the gigs as well.
Yeah.
So presumably you're managing, you're organising, you're promoting the gigs. You must do the booking as well for the gigs.
Yeah, I do bookings.
And do you focus on artists that are with Bread Records, or is it a little more?
I do kind of focus on the acts on the label, but I do also like find other acts in Manchester.
Cool.
You know, local acts, and try and give them like an opportunity to play like a bigger venue, or, you know, just try and put on a really cool gig with some people. You know, sometimes I go, oh, I really like these guys. We can work on a gig and have a good laugh out of it. Do you know
Cool.
what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, I had a I'm gonna call it a music promotion company, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was in my early 20s.
I don't think many people do.
No, but I sort of thought that I basically wanted to put on gigs for my friends to like see the music that I enjoyed, and I thought actually rather than just saying my name's Liam, I'm working on behalf of this
Yeah.
band. If I actually invent a brand, that gives a bit more authority.
Yeah.
And it
It
sounds
looks
like
more
you're doing
official.
and also more official as
Yeah.
well. And I think you're doing a version of that actually seems to be working.
Yeah.
Given that the narrative is you don't need a record label, what is the value that Bread Records can offer artists other than, in your case, we also have gigs?
I think with the acts on the label, it's a lot of the organisation, and it's a lot of the kind of like, what do you do to benefit your release? So if you're putting a single out, most people will be like, there are people who will be like, oh, I know what to do, I'm going to do videos, I'm going to do this, which is great if you know how to do it. But it's a lot of work to do, and it's a lot of stuff to keep on top of. It's very much me just pestering everyone, being like, oh, think about doing this maybe do this, maybe do that. Oh, have you done this? You know, like, it's more of like I'm just like a little personal assistant.
I mean, to be honest, like oh yeah, no, I can get my phone out and I can do a bunch of videos. Yeah, okay, but will you?
Yeah.
And will you just record 10 and then release them all the next day and not have a plan? So you're the guy in the background that's kind of poking and saying, hey, if you release that one in a week's time, or next time you do this, if you put this spin on it.
And then doing all like, you know, like the distribution and sorting out all the like the online stuff. So like merchandise sales, if it goes through the bank account, then it's, you know, I have to organise all of that, then all the t-shirts or CDs or whatever. You know, and then also like I have quite a big hand in the music and a lot of the acts on the label, the majority of them. So like with the EM stuff, mostly I produce it or mix it. I mastered the tracks off the Scatterchild Deluxe album. I mastered a couple of those. You know, so there's a benefit to, you know, you don't have to pay £1,000 to get your tracks mastered. You know?
Yeah, that is what it costs.
It can be a lot of money, can't it?
Yeah.
You know,
that's cool. What I'm sort of hearing is that what you've worked out is that for a musician, you're just really well organised.
Yep, I am the most organised person I know, and it's great, but it's also terrible. Because I get really stressed out about things, but then I'm like, well, I'm not really organised, so it's fine. But then I look at like my to-do list, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of things I need to do.
Yeah. Oh, this is the thing about a to-do list, is that I feel like I'm adding to them more than I'm ticking things off.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I just think about new things to do all the time.
This is it, actually. The to-do list is great so that I can empty my brain of these things I keep thinking of.
Yeah.
But then it means I write it down and then I actually have to do it.
Yeah.
I need like an intermediary to-do list of like, these are just thoughts that I've had. They don't necessarily have to be actions. They could be actions.
You could colour coordinate them and have it as like
stop.
prioritise.
I already do this, though. That's the thing.
The main thing would be to basically be like working with an established brand. That's the main idea.
Interesting.
Isn't it? You know, because if you've got, you know, if you sign to a label, then you affect, and the label goes, oh, we've signed this person. You've got a brand new fan base who's going to check out the music. You know, you've got someone who's going to do all the boring admin work for you. You know, because it is boring.
Yes.
You know,
spreadsheets.
Yeah, spreadsheets.
Yeah, spreadsheets.
Oh yes, I love a spreadsheet.
I love a spreadsheet too.
But it's not a creative.
No,
it's not.
You can color code it as much as you want, but it's still a spreadsheet.
And then like, you know, like budgets for marketing and just having like more of an idea of what should be done. You know, and it depends what label you sign with, but financially as well, it will help. You know, because if you're getting an advance in any way, or if let's say they're going to finance your music video, then you don't have to spend the money to do that, because that's a lot of money that like I don't want to see like the full amount of money that all musicians spend on like music videos, independent musicians. Mm-hmm. If you saw that as like the whole UK, it'd be a ridiculous.
It'd be crazy. Yeah.
It'd be a horrendous number.
And I suppose also you must have like a spreadsheet of music video personnel as well, so someone could have a really good idea for a video.
I have a creative spreadsheet.
Yeah,
so if people get in touch with me or I see someone that's cool, I'll put them into the creative spreadsheet.
Yes,
lovely. As potential people to work with in different manners. You know.
And I suppose as a band, you might have like a tiny sheet of like, oh, I worked with this guy once and he was a cool, and cinematography was very
Yeah.
good, but if you've got, presumably you would need an array of different cinematographers for different
Yeah,
styles
different
of music
styles, of
videos.
course.
So then someone says, I want to do this kind of thing, you're like, I know exactly the person.
The-
So it's the networking as well is like a big part of it.
The
I
other good
suppose.
thing with the label is everyone is also creative in other ways.
Yeah, of course.
So
of course.
There's actually like a benefit in that, like Max also does like videography. Jacob does art and animation. Wanda does art. Everyone brings something else to the table as well.
always.
Like without kind of like, I didn't really go in like, oh, this person could do this for me. But like everyone has another thing that they want to contribute to it.
Yes.
Which is always really nice that they're also willing to put into it.
Yes.
Like the label as a whole. You know?
I mean, that links back to your point about, I'm going to say it again, making just music. If people are wanting to elevate it in some way, they will have another set of skills. And for myself, it's kind of short form video is the thing that I tend to contribute as well. And I'm as excited about, I'm sometimes more excited about doing that stuff for other creative people than I am for doing it. When I'm doing it for myself, it's a slog, but when I'm doing it for other people, it's a real treat.
When it comes to my own music, I'm a little bit. I put other people before me because.
Oh my God,
like,
me too.
Yeah.
It's if any of my clients are listening, and I ever make you a marketing strategy, and you go, "Oh, this is really cool. I want to see this in action," and you go to my Instagram, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm just not doing that for myself.
Yeah.
Please don't judge me based on me.
Yeah.
That's unfair. So do you find that as well with your own stuff? You'd rather work on other people's? Is that like an insecurity thing, do you think?
I don't think.
Like...
I think I just prioritize doing other people's things because I'm like, oh, well, that needs to be done. That should get done.
Yeah.
And then I just go, oh, well, mine can wait a little bit.
Yes.
It's just for me, so it's fine. I'll record that song another day.
Yeah, the person waiting for this to be done is me, and I'm here saying it's okay to put it off. So yeah,
exactly.
Oh, man. That sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
Is there like a specific kind of artist or band that you look for, or is it got more to do with? We talk about things being vibes based these days, but it makes sense. It's like I like you as a person. You have a good work ethic, and your music isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Whatever genre we might call that, is that sort of the way you make decisions?
The way I kind of think about it, they're all my mates, which always benefit, which is always helpful. It's not always been a case of like we've been close all the time, but we've become close since then. So that's not like the only thing that I look for. It would help if I knew someone. You know what I mean? Like that's always the benefit.
Yeah, it always helps. Yeah.
But mostly it's whether I can see like a genuine passion to not just make music and be famous and play in front of millions of people, but like a genuine passion to create art and like create something that means something to the person who's making it. I'm not asked if you're making all these like 2-minute songs that are really catchy and stuff. One of the acts on the label has an 18-minute song.
Jeez.
Okay. And he was like, "Oh, we're gonna put that out," and I was like, "Yeah, great. We're gonna, sounds great to me."
You need to tick a special box on the distribution. But other than that, no biggie.
One side of a vinyl. But like it's very much a case of like if you've got the genuine belief, maybe not belief in yourself, but more like passion to just make something that for the sake of making something nice and fun. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
You've got to be having fun, because if you're not having fun, what's the point?
That makes a lot of sense, because the way I learned about you was through Jay, through Scatterchild, and every time I see him play it, there's always like, I don't want to say just music, but he's not just doing music, he's found ways to elevate it. Having a stupid rotary phone on stage is just such a unique, weird, but really special twist thing.
With the jumpsuit.
With the jumpsuit, oh man, the jumpsuits as well. Yeah, he's got a great brain on him.
It's the thing with Jay is he knows what he wants with his music, and he knows the direction he wants it to go in. That's also something that I look for in an act is they know what they're doing, like for themselves.
Yes.
And they have a direction their music is. It doesn't matter if that direction is like, I'm going to play in a cellar for all my gigs. That's cool. Like,
fine.
He's got a real sense of identity with his music.
Definitely.
Definitely. Or whenever you see him, it's a performance.
Yes.
Rather than just seeing someone play some tunes.
So elevating music beyond just music. I'm doing the bunny ears,
Yeah.
inverted kind of thing there. Elevating music beyond just music, having a clear sense of direction, a clear sense of identity. Are there any other green flags that you look for, or red flags even?
Things I would avoid, maybe, it's hard to pinpoint like a certain thing. If I'm not a fan of someone, obviously I'm not going to work with them.
Sure.
On really on any professional level.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I have come to terms with
Interesting.
recently.
Okay. Yeah.
That I can hold my own when it comes to working on, you know,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to doing music, which is basically me like tailoring everything and me
Yes.
focusing. You know, I've got to be able to choose what to do.
Yeah.
You know, because it's very hard to fall into the trap when you like freelance and stuff of working and just being like, oh, it's fine, I'll just do it because it's a bit of money. I've got to, you know, I need to pay bills.
Every day.
Yeah. I run a lot of like open mics and gigs and stuff, and you see some people or you meet people who are very egotistical and they have a belief in their music, but the belief in their music is like, wow, okay, you really think like, I've met some people who are like, oh, I'm going to be the next big thing in Manchester, and I'm like, are you really?
Big if true,
Like,
buddy. But
you know,
yeah.
like, I know some very, very talented people who don't do very well, but
Yes.
and I know some very untalented people who do really well.
Yeah.
You know, I think the problem is you not only do you need to have like good tunes, you got to put the work in, you got to know how to market yourself and all that, but you also need a little bit of luck with everything. You know, because you could have the most incredible song in the world, but there's always that chance that no one really gets around to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, and then you go, oh, why has that not worked out? And sometimes you're just unlucky with it. You know, I think it's the same in any workplace or any creative.
I think so.
Even in like more usual 9-to-5 jobs, you know, there is always that element that you might just be unlucky sometimes.
Yes, totally.
You know.
I don't like to believe in luck too much. I do believe that you can very much make your own luck. I think lucky people are people who are just more likely to put themselves out there into the world and take advantage of the chaotic nature of the way the world has kind of always been, but particularly now, it feels very chaotic, and it's just about taking enough chances that it eventually pays off. But
if you work at something so much and you put all your effort in, there is a very, very good chance that you will, like, your hard work will pay off. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck.
Especially with creative people, they really sometimes hate putting themselves out there, but it's all about, what's that saying? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You've got to make your own luck. I've kind of always said that.
And I've noticed there's a lot of people who, they have one stumbling block in their like path and they'll stop.
Yes.
And you can't do that.
Yeah.
If you, like, I can't tell you how many times I've played a gig in front of no one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but then I've played gigs in front of like 100 people.
Yes.
You know, and like, it's just about keeping on going. And like, you might have a naff gig, or you might, you know, your single might not do as well as you thought. But then you're not doing it for the fame. Well, you shouldn't be. I don't think you should be doing it for the fame.
Yeah.
You should be doing it because you love it.
If fame is the main motivator, I think that would probably be a red flag, I would assume.
Then if you want to be famous, go on like Market Street in Manchester and like interview people on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Back when Jay first started telling me about you and Bread Records, the thing that he said that was really interesting was that you have like quite a specific timeline for promotions. I'm phrasing this horribly. So like, if you know when your release date is for an album or a single, there's like a set amount of stuff to do ahead of that to promote it.
For like distribution.
Yeah.
They'll have like their own marketing things that you can submit to, but they'll want like X amount of time, like 6 weeks advance. Think about your Spotify pitch, you know, or on the other digital platforms. They're normally like a month.
Yeah.
So you've got to kind of go in with the idea of like, I'm not going to put a release out tomorrow, and that is a bad idea anyway. If you drop a release the day after you submit it, it's just not going to work. But if you have 6 weeks, then you've got 6 weeks to not only do that, the marketing pitches and stuff, you also have 6 weeks to do other things that will benefit. So like music videos, any promotional Instagram reels, or like, you know, like little giveaways or things like that, you know, or plan gigs for a launch gig for a single or an album. You know, I do it because it's more of a like, we've got time now to focus on what else we need to do as well. So we're more prepared for when the single or album, whatever, comes out. You know, there's more for us to have done.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
No,
More for us
I
to
know what
have
you're
done.
saying. Yeah.
I'm just meticulous in planning things.
Yes.
You know, and I think that if you rush something like a single, or like if you rush a track, it's not going to be very good.
No.
If you rush putting out a track, it's not going to do very well.
Yes.
You know, you've got to really, like, I'd much rather wait to put out a release and make sure it's how I want it to be, rather than give myself a deadline for when I need to put this out by then because of this.
Yes.
This. You know, I had a plan this year to do something my own music, and then I got really ill. I got the flu. And
Yeah,
then,
oh man. Yeah.
You know, on my days off, I was just like lying there for 6 hours a day. I'm like lying on my sofa, my laptop, like trying to do work.
If you're enjoying this interview, you might want to visit the LTGuitarist Ko-fi page. Ko-fi, spelt Ko-fi, is a platform where people like you can buy a coffee for their favourite internet creators. Precious coffee. There's also a store where you can download basically every piece of music I've ever written, including lots of stuff that isn't up on Spotify or anywhere else. There's also a monthly supporter option where if you want to send me £1 every month, you can unlock a bunch of sample packs by me, which are not available anywhere else. It's super easy to set up and you can send payment through PayPal. Honestly, times are hard, so any donations are hugely appreciated. Visit kofi.com/LTGuitarist. That's ko-fi.com/LTGuitarist to support the LT Guitarist Interviews podcast. Thank you. A lot of what people think marketing is purely social media, and I do want to touch on social media in a second, but like I think the reason social media is such a big part of marketing is because you can get really easy wins. Like sometimes you post a reel to Instagram and it gets a crap load of views. Most of the time you won't, but sometimes you just this is the luck thing, isn't it? Sometimes you just will. You'll just hit the algorithm on the right day for whatever and you'll get a load of views. Are there any like easy wins outside of social media? Like, are there any ways to approach press or blogs or anything like that is like super reliable?
I think when it comes to like doing like press and blogs and stuff for like magazines and reviews and stuff, it's very much a case of if you can basically send them something that they can like publish without really editing, you're in a better place, because you know if you get 2,000 emails a day asking someone to review your album, like reviewing albums and stuff, they're gonna go for the easiest one because they've got 2,000 emails to get through.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so if you've got like a press release, you know, got marketing assets, so like videos, photos, you've got the tracks easily accessible for people, then you're in a much better place.
Yeah, if you can copy paste a PDF into Squarespace and hit publish, that will make people's life a lot easier. Because I suppose that's the thing, that people want to bring people towards their website. So actually, as long as whatever they're publishing, everything's spelt correctly, and then they can take care of the formatting or whatever.
Even if you just like explain like what the release is about, and then just give a bit of backstory, explain like who's involved, and you know, keep it like concise but informative.
Yes.
You know, that's always the best way.
Do you find that as a label you have an easier inroad to outlets like radio and stuff like that?
Not really.
Not so much. Okay, interesting. That is interesting.
If you were like a big established national label,
sure,
you'd have a much better way in. But you would also have someone who is in charge of that and getting paid a yearly salary to do that.
Yes.
So, you know,
a dedicated person with one job.
Yes.
And maybe only one spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
On the social media side, is there like a standardized set of, if we've got this 6 weeks period, how many Instagram reels should you be posting every week?
I mean, it depends on the act.
Sure.
If you're making pop music, then make as many reels as you want and post them as many times as you want. If you're making like, I don't know, let's say like really horrible like doom gaze, you just post them reels and they're going to be like, you know, the forest.
Yes.
Like, and you don't have to do it very often, or you can just, you know, it's about the like the branding, the image of the act.
Interesting.
You know, if you're like, I don't know, if you're writing like old school folk songs, maybe reels aren't the one.
Okay.
Maybe go for more like just images that like evoke like emotion in it that relates to the tracks.
Okay.
The videos are always good, and they'll always help, but it really does depend on what kind of music you make.
That's interesting, because I've always said that not every band needs to be on Instagram.
Yeah.
Certainly not every band needs to be on Blue Sky.
No.
If you're a solo artist, I think things like Blue Sky, Threads, and there used to be a third one back in the day. That makes total sense, because then you can just put whatever stream of conscious up. But if you're representing an entire band, something a little more cultivated like Instagram makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And it's about like the image of the band. Are you like a band that really shares all of what's going on all the time, or are you a band that's like release drops this date, link in bio, all that, because there are like a lot of established bands that do have like this kind of presence of like, oh, we're doing this, oh yeah, oh look at this, oh look, and it's like the band life and interacting. But then there are bands that are like, we're playing a show.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
That's all they'll do.
Yes.
Like it really just depends what kind of outlet you have. And it really, you need to fit it with the music. Like,
this is true.
You can't be like a pop singer and be like, I don't know, putting up like pictures of the forest when it's dark and raining.
I don't know, there's like a Bjork vibe to that. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Bjork's pop, I don't know. Genre isn't real.
Yeah.
In terms of like the landscape of music, it's kind of chaotic. Are there like specific challenges that you think are facing musicians now that wouldn't have existed 10 years ago?
Yeah, the cost of living crisis.
Yeah, it's the same for everyone, really, isn't it?
That's
it's the big one.
It, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that, if you look at like, social media algorithms and then like the AI and all that, there's a lot of things that make it easier in ways, but also make it more difficult in other ways.
Yeah.
It's great that you can have it's fun. Social media is fantastic in that your music can be listened to by anyone in the entire world. Spotify and streaming platforms are great because anyone in the entire world can listen to your music. But then at the same time, that's like everyone has that opportunity.
Yes.
So does it really has it cancelled itself out?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the internet is great in theory, but everyone has access to exactly the same tool set.
Yeah.
So, do you watch Taskmaster?
I have seen it a few times, yeah.
There are times when Greg Davis will award everyone the same number of points, and Alex Horn is like, what is the earthly point in doing that? You may as well have given them no points.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing the game show anymore, are we? We're just giving an equal amount of praise. Yeah. It's the same thing. Everyone has access to the same tools, and therefore no one has an advantage.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I think that when it comes down to there's a lot more people who do music nowadays because it is easier in the fact that you can record your stuff at home.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay for a music software. You can get GarageBand on your
Scarlett
iPad.
Solo, it comes with free software.
Exactly. You can. All it takes is you can put your own song out and it sound like it's in a studio, and you can record it at home. All you need to do is know how to mix.
Yep.
Then that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
But then everyone's in that boat as well, so it's beneficial to everyone. But at the same time, that's good because now there's a lot more people who have a creative outlet.
Yes.
Which I think is beneficial just for society in general.
Yeah, definitely.
Music is not as cut off for people who can't afford to do it, don't have the skills to do it. Music is now a lot easier to access. It's a lot more accessible than it was in the past.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So I'm just thinking about bands that release to cassette, for example. Everyone has access to record in their bedroom for not a lot of money. Everyone has access to distributing to Deezer, Apple, everywhere for not a lot of money. Not everyone has a cassette recorder.
No.
Is it literally just making any excuse to stand out? Do you think?
I think it depends, because we actually put out cassettes.
Why does this not surprise me?
For one of the acts and label, but it kind of fit with the idea of the music. It was a lot more we didn't really want to do CDs because it was the cassette just symbolises the songs a bit better.
Yes, especially if the ensemble works in mono, essentially, if it's stripped back enough that you can do that.
I wouldn't say that a scatter child would put out a cassette. I don't think that's really a viable option.
Yeah.
But then, the Anyone's Go stuff was on cassette because it just felt right to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas I don't think the CDs would have had the same impact. And realistically, it's the same with like a record. People aren't going to turn around and listen to it all the time. You know what I mean? They're not going to go.
Where do you get a CD drive these days?
I'm going to put the cassette on. Hey, what should I put on? Like, you know, I'm going to get the tape player out. Like,
Yes.
it's more having like a tangible object for people to kind of support the music with.
Yes.
You know, I think that's the same with really any merch.
Yeah.
Is it's less of like you're still going to go on a streaming platform and listen to it.
Yeah, of course you are.
Because you can't put a cassette in your phone. You can't put a CD in your phone.
No.
You know.
Yet.
Yet. When they get the extender.
You can buy a cassette to USB-C cable, but it won't do anything. So in that way, I guess a cassette or even like a CD is more like a Funko Pop in that it's something you put on your shelf to show your allegiance to a certain
I guess so.
brand or certain thing, and it's not something you necessarily use in and of itself.
Yeah.
You're still going to stream it off of Spotify,
Yeah, of
whatever
course.
you do. Yeah,
I do know some people who actually do have like cassette players or
yes,
mechanical
I'm
players.
one of them.
Yeah.
So in terms of those specific challenges, we sort of cover this, but the next bit to that question is how does a label help with those specific challenges? Not every artist is necessarily going to have a sense of, should I put out a cassette?
Yeah.
I can put out a cassette, but is that the right call? And certainly doesn't necessarily have the capital to do
invest
that.
in it initially,
Yeah. I haven't looked at cassette recording, but I imagine it's a lot more expensive than CD.
It's more expensive than CDs.
Yeah.
But you would like realistically be able to sell a cassette for more than a CD.
Yes.
You know.
Which is really not the world I thought we'd be living in.
No.
How long has Bread Records existed? Even
I
ballpark.
think around 10 years.
Cool, okay. How has it changed in those 10 years? And has it changed based on what you want to do, what artists need to do, or dependent on the landscape, or all of these things?
There's always been like one kind of sole idea, and it was to support local musicians and put out good music and, you know, have fun.
Yes.
You know, put on gigs and have fun and enjoy yourself. At the start, when I was more, like I was at university, and then like when I was working in, you know, I worked in a bar, and then put on gigs as well and ran events. And then coming into like more of like the cost of living, it's hard to balance like the financial viability of things.
Yes.
With, do I want to do this because I want to do it? You know, so when it comes to like the releases and stuff, that is very much like I'm doing it because I want to do it. I want to support these tracks because I enjoy them, and you know. But when it comes to like the live stuff, you know, the live music is not the way that it was after the pandemic.
No.
After the pandemic,
No.
putting on gigs was great because everyone wanted to go to gigs. Yeah. And you put on gigs and it'd be really fun, and there'd be loads of people there and really good social, like loads of people there who you knew, hang out with everyone. But now it's very hard to get people to come out to things, and especially when you go in, it's £8 to get in, but you see in 3 great bands, you know, which, you know, is great. You know, that's less than 2 pints in Manchester.
Yes.
It's the price of a pint in Manchester.
Yes. No,
know.
yeah.
But it is hard because there's so much options now that people to do in like every night of the week, and everyone's trying to save money all the time.
Yeah.
I'm constantly trying to be like, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should. I need to do a food shop. But, you know, it's a lot different in that respect. And then when it comes to like releases and stuff, I'm very much of the idea of if you put out a release and you put your music out, it doesn't really matter if it doesn't do well. It doesn't really matter if it does really well. It's about putting it out and being like, I'm proud of this song.
Yes.
You know, and if you put a song out and you go, I'm not proud of it, then take it down.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of putting it out?
Yes.
You know, it's about putting out music that is quality and you enjoy. You know, there's a lot of different things that have come across the last 10 years, like, you know, how we're marketing it on different levels, you know, social media. There's now all the AI stuff that Timbaland loves that's destroying the environment.
I don't even have capacity to really keep up to date with what's happening in AI. It's bad for the brain.
I get a lot of adverts.
I'm sure.
And I can make music. Like, I know how to play various instruments.
Yes.
And it's like, you could just make it with a click. And then I have seen people be like, it's really good, but I'm really bad. I've got to a point where I'm just running out of prompts so can they generate a prompt for me? And I'm like, you're taking away like the one element of human interaction.
The one arguably creative act.
Yeah.
You have. Yes.
They're trying to say that, like, the people are complaining that they can't.
Just
if you've got to do
Fruity
that,
Loops, man.
if you've got to do that, just go and do something else.
Do anything else.
If you don't have the inspiration to write a song, you're not going to write a song.
Yeah.
You know, anyone, even like huge musicians, you know, Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Bob Dylan doesn't have the inspiration to write "Blow in the Wind." He wasn't going to do it.
He's going to do something else.
Yeah. You know, like. I
am intellectually curious, but I don't have the capacity to try and understand. But I would like to know, what is the driving force if you're putting prompts into a machine to generate music? What are you getting out of that other than, ooh, computers are weird?
I think that it's a balance between people are interested in it and they're like, oh, well, let's try that out. Like, you know, just like, genuine
intellectually,
curiosity.
I get it. Fine. Yeah.
But I also think that it's people being like, well, I have these ideas, but I can't play a guitar. I can't do this.
Right.
Which realistically, I would just argue, just learn an instrument.
Yeah.
You know, it will take you a long time, but then you'll be able to play an instrument.
It sounds like you want to be like an exec producer, or you want to be a band leader.
Yeah.
But you got to put the work in. If you can't express what kind of chord you want to hear next, not for you.
I think that every musician or creative person in the entire world, if they told you how many like hours worth of time they've put in learning how to play an instrument, how to use a piece of software, you'd be like in the tens of thousands.
Oh, most of my time.
Yeah.
Like almost all of my spare time.
You know,
and I don't feel like it's enough even. I'm not where I would like to be.
No, of course.
It's just and I get thinking about that as an outsider and going, I'd love to be able to do these things. I can't imagine putting in that time.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say to you. Don't.
Yeah.
There are other ways to find joy.
Yeah.
Like, there are some good books out there.
The way I always think of it is everyone will have something that they are naturally good at.
Yeah.
And something that they will enjoy.
Oh, 100%.
And you just got to find that thing.
Yes.
And I think the AI generated music takes away from that.
Yes.
You know,
because it makes it too easy. It's that
you might actually be a really, really talented artist. You might just need to practice a little bit and get to the point, but you might really do well in the journey it takes to get there. You just need to do it. So you need to start doing it to get to that point.
I suppose it could even be that these concepts that you're putting into Chat, GPT or whatever, these prompts are like conceptually really great ideas for music. But if you're really truly thinking outside of the box, AI isn't going to capture that.
No.
Because it doesn't exist yet, and it's only pooling from things that already exist.
Yeah.
So how could it possibly?
And at the same time, you know, playing a guitar doesn't like use like half the world's water. So, you know, like that, or like
there is also
like huge masses of electricity. You know, just buy a 15-watt amp. It's going to use a fraction of that electricity.
Or an acoustic one.
Yeah.
Just ukuleles are so cheap, man. Like, don't even worry about it.
You can find an acoustic guitar for literally a tenner.
I think you will be able to find someone in your network that wants to get rid of one.
Yeah.
I think you can find one for free if you really try.
Yeah.
Do you think Spotify is going to go anywhere, or do you think Spotify is going to change, or again, is it just going to carry on being mildly evil?
I think that the only way that you would be able to change Spotify is to everyone to boycott it, or at least like a very large percentage of.
It would have to be huge.
I think there will be like a more ethical main platform that will come in, and some of the other ones are a lot more ethical when it comes down to like, you know, paying artists and all that.
Deezer is supposed to be good for
Tidal's
that.
good for it.
Tidal's good for
Tidal's
that.
very good for it. Apple Music's okay. It's
I've
not as
heard
bad.
Apple Music's okay.
It's not just that with Spotify, is it? You know, it's all the investing in.
It's the military stuff.
Yeah.
And the AI stuff.
Yeah.
Like, mostly. We could cope with not being paid, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that there'll be a platform that comes in, but it you know, you are paying like less than a tenner a month for like every song in the entire world at your fingertips. You know, it's not. There is also a balance of like, even if they could afford to pay you, well, they can't even afford to pay you. You know, even if 1 million people did it, how are you divvying up £10 million a month between all the artists? Is that
linked to like the rise in AI music? Not to get too philosophical, because we've devalued the cost of music so much that we think a tenner is about what all music should cost a month, then isn't it fair enough to extrapolate that, oh, well, I should just be able to generate music by putting a couple sentences into ChatGPT?
Maybe.
I wonder if they're related.
Oh, I don't know.
That's too big. That's too big for a Monday evening.
Yeah. Oh, that's like an essay, isn't it? That's a dissertation paper.
If anyone, I'm going to get ChatGPT to do that essay for me.
No.
I can't bother. Let's move on to slightly more positive things. So Bread Records, what is on the horizon for you lot? Are there any specific acts or releases that you're really excited about?
So on the 2nd of January, the new Narwhals album's coming out,
Cool.
which I'm very looking forward to. They've been releasing it. They've been recording the songs for like 5 years, but they all sound really good.
Cool.
So I'm really excited for that to come out. And we are recording music and working on stuff, and also maybe collaborations and stuff. I'm trying to think what I can say.
Yes.
Collaborations. Just kind of putting on a few nice gigs for the acts and nice little fun things. You know, things that you want.
It sounds like business as usual, but business as usual seems fairly positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's really cool. Yeah. Michael Webster, Bread Records, thank you so much. Where can people find out more about what's going on? Instagram, website?
Instagram, we have a Facebook.
Sure.
No one really uses Facebook anymore, so...
What is a Facebook page anyway?
We do have a website, and that's where everything is.
Cool.
It's just the easiest way to find it.
Is that if I just Google Bread Records, is it going to come up?
It's www.breadrecords.co.uk.
Why is it Bread Records?
Because bread is the food of the working class.
I'm a little angry that was so prepared.
And everyone loves bread in some form.
This is, yes.
You know.
And there's even bread for people who are allergic to bread.
Yeah.
Because we live in the future. Yeah, amazing. I'm going to hit stop there.
Yeah.